Good morning, everybody. I am Steve, the Baxman Baxley, and usually at this time you'd hear us announce, but man, did that game go long. But the Dodgers survive to play another day. We'll get to it all. We are going just 30 to 45 minutes tonight. May just hit 35. But really, folks, it was an exciting day. We have got a lot to talk about and a very short time to disgrace it. So let's get going and do some scores and everything else. We can do it all in about, I don't know, like I just said. We'll just see what we can do. By the way, good luck, William Shatner. Tomorrow, he and three other brave individuals will be going up in a rocket ship done by Jeff Bezos that looks like, I'm just going to say it looks like a penis. Do your William Shatner jokes now, folks, because tomorrow it gets real. Anyway, let's get to what makes us different than the mice. And our scoreboards, by the way, presented by Caesar Sportsbook. Remember, we are all Caesar. And the Astros have thrown the trash can. That's right. They defeated the White Sox. In fact, slaughtered them 10-1, 10-14-0 for the Stros, 1-7-1 for the White Sox. Houston wins series 3-1. Garcia gets the win for the Astros. He's 1-1. Loss for the White Sox. He's 0-1. So guess what? For the division series, it'll be the Houston Astros taking on the Boston Red Sox. As we're going to call it now, the two teams that will never, ever do anything with a trash can again. Okay, the Braves beat the Brewers by a score of 5-4 to take a 3-1 series lead. In fact, they have just won that one. So while the Astros of the American League take on the Boston Red Sox, the Atlanta Braves are going to have to wait to find out who they're going to go up against. By the way, I'll give you the line scores in a moment. Braves 5-11-1, Brewers 4-8-0. Winning pitcher Matzik, he's 1-0. Loser Hader, he's 0-1, and Smith got his third save. Now, here's why the Braves are going to have to wait. And we thank the Dodgers for prolonging the agony. They have just defeated the Giants, which is why we're on at an hour we're not supposed to be. But hey, I own the show. I do it. I can and will break the rules as I can. Dodgers beat the Giants 7-2. The defending World Series champions go to the National League Division. Now, the National League Championship Series, where they will face. Oh, correction. Boy, I got so happy. Actually, the Dodgers winning 7-2, 7-12-0 for Dodgers, 2-7-1 for Giants. Guess what? Tomorrow's game is it. They like I said, Giants and Dodgers going to go full plate all 5 games. And I'm going to say this. The Dodgers are going to come out with more hunger than the Giants. Kelly got the win for the Dodgers. He's 1-0. Discalafani got the loss. He's 0-1. All right. And just in case to get things upward here, let's figure this here puppy out if we can, please. Thursday, October 14th, TBS, 9:07 p.m. Eastern Time. Giants taking on Los Dodgers. Thank you. And the League Championship Series, by the way, begins for the American League Friday, October 15th. National League Sunday, October 17th. So there you go. We're out of that, aren't we? Yes, we is. So let's go from there to let's pop the button, guys. Come on. No, we don't want. Well, I'm not going to talk about that. Boom. Let's get over with the NBA preseason. There are only about 2 games in the preseason to get. Raptors over the Wizards, 113 to 108. Warriors over the Lakers, 111 to 99. Wow. Okay, and today was the first day the NHL season started tonight with a pretty good double dip here. Tampa Bay Lightning, 2-time Stanley Cup defending champs, they rose the banner, and you know what they did? They dunked the game. That's right. The only thing that was happy about it was the banner ceremony. The rest of it wasn't that great, wasn't that happy. If you're a Lightning fan, you should be totally ashamed. Penguins, they came out fighting, and they lit that lamp a lot. 6-2 final score, Penguins over Le Lightning. They didn't publish the 3-star selection, so we'll have to wait until tomorrow for that. Vegas Golden Knights. Well, no, we'll do it properly. In Seattle, they released the Kraken, but they got a guppy. Golden Knights took out the Kraken and devoured them 4-3. But they did make a game out of it, and I got to tell you, with a sellout crowd in Seattle, that was good. The Seattle Kraken did okay. They did. No kidding. They did. Yeah. Okay, let's get to some headlines, as we shall do. And the biggest headlines right now, well, John Gruden has the emails. Oh man, there's got to be more to this than meets the epaulets, meets the eye. Let's give you the latest on Gruden-gate as it continues to fall apart. Head coach lead the Tampa Bay Bucks to a Super Bowl title. And the prestigious Ring of Honor. Gruden was removed from that honor and removed from it after a Super Bowl winning head coach resigned from Las Vegas Raiders in the wake of leaked emails in which he repeatedly used very insensitive language. The franchise statement, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have advocated for purposeful change in the areas of race relations, gender equality, diversity, and inclusion for many years. While we acknowledge Gruden's contributions on the field, his actions go against our core values as an organization. Therefore, he will no longer continue to be a member of the Buccaneer Ring of Honor. I think he'll finally find out how Pete Rose felt. Now, Gruden was put under investigation by the NFL for an email sent back in 2011, which he used a racial trope to criticize NFLPA Executive Director DeMaurice Smith. Gruden admitted Friday he also used that same type of profane language to describe NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell, and more emails leaked, which he casually and frequently unleashed a misogynistic and homophobic language during his tenure as Monday Night Football color commentator for ESPN. From 2010 to 2018 when he was coaching the NFL with the Raiders. Gruden brought the Buccaneers their first Super Bowl title in the 2002 season, leading Tampa Bay to a victory over said Raiders. In Super Bowl 37, Tampa won 3 NFC South titles under Gruden, who finished with just a 57-55 record in 7 seasons. Gruden's 3 playoff wins were the most in Bucks history. Bruce Arians passed him last season, and his 57 wins are the most in team history. His 4 winning seasons are tied for the most in history with Tony Dungy. 2 Buccaneer coaches sit in the Ring of Honor after Gruden's removal, Tony Dungy and the original John McKay. Meanwhile, speaking of the Bucks, if you were watching ESPN, that was a nice little interview with Keyshawn Johnson. Former Vegas Raider head coach John Gruden resigned Monday night, as we know, and we're not going to do all this. Reaction continues to pour in on this story, including some remarks from former players during Tuesday morning's edition of Keyshawn, Jay, Will, and Max on ESPN Radio and ESPN networks. Former Tampa Bay Bucs star wideout Keyshawn Johnson, who spent 2 seasons with Gruden in Tampa and won a Super Bowl with him, said that he always knew his former head coach was a fraud and called him a used car salesman. Said Johnson, quote, "I didn't know that John was and put them in an email. He just always has been a fraud to me. From day one, he's been a used car. Bought it because he inherited a championship team built by Tony Dungy and Rich McKay. And then he came in there with a little bit of a different energy than we had with Tony, and it kind of kicked us over the top to get our world championship, which I'm grateful for. But at the same time, I also saw through who he was through that journey of getting the championship. Now, Dungy was fired following the 2001 season, despite making the playoffs in each of the last 3 years. He was replaced by Gruden, who went 12-4 in his first season and won the Super Bowl 37. Gruden would never be able to rate that level of success in a regular postseason. He never made it past the wild card round and was fired in 2009. He never made the postseason during his second tenure with the Raiders after taking over in 2018. It seems unlikely, and we say this with all due respect, he will ever coach in the National Football League again or in any football league ever. His legacy will continue to be broken down over the next few weeks. Johnson is now saying that his former head coach was always a fraud, however, and that his unique energy was the only thing that set him apart. Wow. And I have a feeling the NFL, if they ever continue their investigation, is going to see a lot more. Hey, Matt, how you doing, man? But wow, how the mighty have fallen, and I don't think the drop is going to stop. I have a feeling there are some other things that Mr. Gruden may regret that he was a part of or a party to. And speaking of emails, another little NFL story. Let's just keep going here now. Gruden, let's go to this one. The NFL believes nothing stemming from those emails needs to be reported to clubs or league leadership. This goes against the NFLPA's request for the league to release the remainder of the 650,000 emails reviewed regarding misconduct with Washington. The NFL told the USA Today they have no plans to release the emails as a matter of confidentiality. The league also doesn't plan to reopen the investigation into Washington. Lawyers Lisa Banks and Deborah Katz, who are representing former employees of Washington, also asked the league to release the emails. So apparently, we haven't heard the end of this. The NFL put Gruden under investigation. We're not going to repeat this. Let's just keep going and just go. The emails were sent to then Washington team president Bruce Allen when Gruden was at ESPN. Allen worked with Gruden when Gruden was head coach of the Oakland Raiders, his first stint and also the Buccaneers. If I were the NFL, if I were Mr. Goodell, I would, for the sake of public relations, I would acquiesce to the NFL Players Association's request. Swallow your pride and release those emails. The public need to know that you are not whitewashing this. You're not hiding anything. Because when you say you're not, then you are. You are hiding something you don't want anyone to find out. So come on, Roger Goodell. Come on, NFL. Cooperate. If you have nothing to hide, if you have nothing to be ashamed of, you will release those emails. All right. We got one more, and then we'll go to the media and then the other stuff. Let's see. Matt is doing all right. Currently watching a few VTubers on Twitch that I follow. Well, that's fun. That's good. That's good, my friend. The Brooklyn Nets and Philadelphia 76ers were the top two seeds in the Eastern Conference last season, but both are dealing with quite a bit of two-season approacheth. Simmons only just reported to Philadelphia following the requested trade. The Nets announced Tuesday that Kyrie Irving will not be allowed to participate in any games or practices until he was fully in compliance with New York City's vaccine mandate. This has led many around the league to speculate that the Nets and 76ers could solve each other's problems. Philadelphia could satisfy Simmons' desire or lack of, well, it's not lack of anymore, for a trade by sending him to Brooklyn. Irving could return to the court as a member of the 76ers, as neither Philadelphia nor the state of Pennsylvania has a mandate in place that would prevent him from playing. Simmons would provide sorely needed defense in Brooklyn, while Irving would provide sorely needed offense in Philadelphia. But according to Sam Amick of The Athletic, the 76ers have no interest in such a trade at this time. Amick reports that there is skepticism within Philadelphia's organization about Irving's fit with Joel Embiid, and that the 76ers is still holding out hope they can land Bradley Beal or Damian Lillard. Irving, on paper, would be a seemingly easy fit with Embiid. He's exactly the sort of isolation scorer they've lacked in recent years. But trading for him comes with another of complications. While Irving is owed a max salary this season, he has a player option that will allow him to become a free agent next offseason. Trading a player like Simmons for only a one-year commitment from Irving would be an enormous risk. There's also the fear that Irving might simply retire rather than report to a new team. Simmons' camp still views Brooklyn as a possibility, according to Amick, but there's no evidence that the Nets are prepared to consider trading Irving. He was instrumental in recruiting Kevin Durant to the Nets in 2019, and those two together made Brooklyn appealing enough to land James Harden a year later. For now, the hope remains that Irving is eventually able to rejoin on a full-time basis, but the longer this drags on, the more seriously Brooklyn will have to consider a move. Of course, if a team as desperate as Philadelphia is skeptical, it's unclear just how much intent the Nets would be able to drum up on the trade market for such an enigmatic player. Wow. Okay, and let's get some awful announcing. By the way, Nick Rekida's on tonight. He's got about a couple more hours. All right, let's get going here. Neil Everett has joined the Portland Trailblazers broadcast as a studio host. ESPN is launching Bald Men on Campus podcast with Jay Bilas, LaFonso Ellis, and Seth Greenberg. Wow. Okay. Let's see. Do we have any more? No other. Let's read this one. We were supposed to read this one to you folks last night. It was about, or did we? No? Here we go. A wild story posted by Sports Business Journal spells out another potential shift for local sports rights, which would come out of deep left field. Per said article on Sports Biz Journal, Fanatics, the merchandising company that has exclusive deals with numerous leagues and has slipped in its way into the trading card business, could become a player in the sports media landscape. As usual, talks are preliminary, and Fanatics is just one company that's been involved. In the article, it states, quote, one of the most intriguing ideas that's been discussed recently involves Fanatics CEO Michael Rubin, an executive who has not been known for sports media deals, but who has had several meetings in recent months to see if there's a path for his company to jump into the flagging Regional Sports Network biz. Rubin's meetings with league team distribution and network executives have been dormant for several weeks and nothing is imminent. As sources say, Fanatics is concentrating on expanding other part of its business before tackling media. Several sources said that these talks with Rubin could pick back up again next year. Plus, leagues, teams, and media companies are considering several options beyond Fanatics. Also of note in this article, executives think that Diamond Sports, the subsidiary of the infamous Sinclair Broadcast Group that runs the Bally Sports regional networks, is on the road to bankruptcy. If Fanatics, as the article stipulates, were to make a move, it would need to get control of the local rights, which may be the easiest step. Sources say NBC, Universal, and AT&T have been trying to find buyers for their regional sports networks, and top executives from leagues and media companies share a common belief that the Sinclair subsidiary, Diamond Sports Group, which owns the 21 Bally Sports branded RSNs, are in are possibly looking for bankruptcy. Sinclair's been bleeding money since purchasing the former Fox Sports regionals for roughly $10 billion in May of 2019 from Disney. Later that year, Sinclair fell into a carriage dispute with AT&T regarding the regional sports networks, which was evidently resolved, while Fubo TV dropped the RSNs at the start of 2020. An infamous dispute erupted between Sinclair and YouTube TV prior to the start of the pandemic, with a short-term extension running through the end of the summer. Hulu then proceeded to drop the RSNs last October, and Dish stood firm in their opposition to carry RSNs this summer, despite a carriage dispute centered around local affiliates. But it was the pandemic, unsurprisingly, that kneecapped Sinclair's RSNs last summer. It was widely reported that Sinclair would owe more in rebates than it would receive in refunds for unplayed games. In November, the company of over $4 billion on the RSNs, along with posting an operating loss of over $3 billion for that quarter. Earlier this year, Sportico reported that Sinclair owed $1.8 billion in rights fees in 2021 alone, but hey, they got that $85 million 10-year naming rights deal from Bally's. Would Fanatics be a better option than Sinclair? It's hard to see that being blessed, largely because of Fanatics' complete lack of experience in the broadcast universe. I don't doubt the company would hire and or retain many qualified individuals to handle that part of the operation, but be interesting to see. And I'm going to take my hat off. There we go. I have no shame. While the Fanatics stuff is getting most of the headlines, the concern among executives about potential collapse of Sinclair's regional sports networks is far more interesting and momentous. If those RSNs fall before a seller is found, it could create a real big black hole in the finances of many teams across the country, no matter if they play in large markets or small ones. Of course, there's one domestic league that will remain virtually unaffected, the NFL, with its $100 billion in national TV deals. The end of the RSN model, especially if a direct-to-consumer option never comes to fruition, would simply further the gap between the NFL and other pro sports leagues in the U.S. There wouldn't be a Big Four anymore. You could argue that there's not a Big Four today. There would be the NFL, a gap, college football, another gap, and then the NBA, NHL, Major League Baseball, and the rest in whatever order. But if the regional sports networks do collapse, the one question I have is, would the teams come back to local television? For example, could the Tigers go back to either CW50 or WDIV Channel 4 in Detroit? There's a question. Los Angeles, the Dodgers, would they go from Bally to either KTLA or could the New York Yankees live with could the New York Yankees or New York, well, I don't think the New York Mets would be included, but no, they're actually owned by two different things, I think. I have to find out, but if the Yankees network, yes, went under, would they kind of like to go with New York, or split with WWOR or WPIX. See, you ask a lot of questions, but there should be a lot of answers. And we will chat about that at another time. Let's see. Do we have a chance? Yeah, let's get you soccerfied with some soccer and some scores before we go to our last segment. All right, let's that's a little too long. We need some short. Okay, international friendlies. Ireland over Qatar 4-0. And I think we're going to hold it there because we got about 5 minutes remaining on our show. So we're having to cherry pick here as we can. And we've already done we've already done hockey and we've already done basketball. So I think we can easily say we got in time for some international baseball. And we'll just do the scores because, as we said, we are running snankily running into a time zone here. Chinichi Dragons over the Yakut Swallows 3-2. Hiroshima Carp over the Yokohama Bay Stars 3-0. The Fukuoka SoftBank Hawks over the Nippon Ham Fighters 5-0. Oric Buffaloes and Chibalati Marines ended in a 2-2 tie. The Hanshin Tigers defeated the Omuri Giants 2-1. And in the Korean Baseball Organization, Doosan Bears over the KT Wiz Swang 4-1. Samsung Lions over the Kia Tigers 2-1. Kiwoom Heroes over the NC Dinos 13-2. SSG Landers and the LG Twins tied at 4. And friends, we have done it. A 30-minute, a slim down show because of time. And a slim down show we have just had. We will be back with you, I do believe, in the regular time. And maybe with the regular time, we will have an irregular night. I'm hoping for that, aren't you? Anyway, thank you all very much for watching, listening, and enjoying. I'm Steve, the Baxman Baxley, and from everybody here who's a part of Sports Final, may all your sporty balls be huge, large, and in charge, and may you all be winners in the game of life. Good night, everybody. God bless, and we'll see you all tomorrow night.